Good day everyone. In this video we're going to be having a look at how Luminar Neo is changing. We're going to have a look at the UI updates and try and explain the Prime pricing a little bit because it does seem a little bit confusing at times. So to do that we'll start off with looking at the UI changes. And the biggest one most likely that people will be aware of is the unified interface. Before that, we'll just have a look though, and you may see that Luminar Neo is now Luminar. So there's a bit of a rebrand going on, and Luminar Neo is being dropped in favor of just Luminar. I don't think that this is just a name change, although maybe I'm reading into it a little bit more. I think it's kind of a pivot towards, I guess, an ecosystem that connects desktop, web, mobile, all of these things. So I suspect that that's part of the branding change, although maybe I'm reading in that too deeply. But probably the biggest thing that people are going to notice is the interface change. And this has really moved from up the top. We used to have catalog, edit, all of those things, to now being, I think, a little bit more integrated and letting the photo kind of take center stage. So you'll see up the top there are breadcrumbs so we can see where we are and jump between photos very easily. But on the right hand side, you'll see that there are now the editing sections. So I think that's a really big change. Presets, tools, edits, and controls are all housed in this one sidebar that makes it much easier to get to. So if I go into a photo, you'll see most of it is still pretty similar. You can still do your presets, see what they're going to look like, look at some of the scenery presets and others, and use these for inspiration. Not all of them are going to suit. So this one, for example, I'm not a huge fan of, but you can maybe get some inspiration for how you want to edit your photo. All of the tools, the image editing tools that you're used to are in the right-hand side under tools. And when we make an edit, you'll see an orange dot appear around edit. So if I take this and I apply a little bit of enhanced AI, maybe some structure, let's go a bit of vignette, we can then start to change our photo. And you would do all the usual edits that you would typically do to your photo. Border enhancer doesn't do a whole lot in this case because it is a bit blurry and a bit harder to see. But you can see now that there's an orange dot on this section of edits. So we can easily go back, change how much we're actually doing to the photo. Maybe we want more enhance, maybe we want less through accent AI. So this really, it does seem a bit quicker from what I can see. I can jump in and out of photos fairly quickly. I can do all of the develop things, all the usual things that you would do to your photo. And then I can see within the edits how they're being changed. So that's the UI overhaul. It's been a combination of all of the moving of the tools to the right-hand side, improving navigation, performance improvements as well. And the suggestions are up to 25% faster exports and maybe up to sort of 3, nearly 4 times faster preset previews. So it does feel snappier, but it's hard for me to quantify that. Now, the thing that most people are probably interested in is the pricing and Luminar Prime. And so Luminar have announced what they're calling Luminar Prime. And Luminar Prime is a pricing structure that is kind of moving towards a hybrid model, I suppose. So you have a one-time purchase. So if we look on their website, these are Australian prices, by the way, apologies for that. But you can see that desktop only gives you access to Luminar on desktop, and it gives you access to these AI tools, continuous upgrades for the length of your license and access to fall upgrade 2026 features, but it doesn't include spaces, it doesn't include the vast library of assets. So the important thing to note with this, and I'm not sure that people are necessarily fully across this, is that whilst the desktop app is yours to own forever, the generative AI tools that rely on Skylum servers are not. So after 365 days with Luminar Prime, if your license lapses, then you'll lose access to those generative AI features that rely on their cloud and their platforms. Now, that kind of makes sense, I think, because obviously they have to use resources to run those. So I know a lot of people aren't fans of the subscription model, but if you are using some of those AI tools, especially on a regular basis, you may need to look at different licenses. So there is all platforms, and all platforms is really about adding that cross-device editing. So Luminar on mobile, Luminar on desktop, and excitingly, Luminar on web. So that's coming in fall 2026, where you're going to be able to do editing in a web browser, from what I understand. Similar, it comes with the AI tools. It does have spaces, which are the web galleries, the continuous updates for the life of that subscription that you've got, and access to the fall upgrade features. Now, what this doesn't have is it doesn't have some of the other features as well. So if we look at Max, which is the one that I think most people tend to suggest, it's a little bit more expensive, but it does come with Luminar Prime. So Luminar Prime is their kind of subscription model, I suppose you'd call it. So with Max, you have Luminar on desktop, on mobile, cross-device editing, Luminar on web, which is again fall 2026, and their Luminar Prime. So this is a 1-year subscription. It gives you access to all of the AI tools. It gives you access to spaces, the continuous updates, the new features every year while you sub during your subscription. And so they do highlight this as basically every feature that's released during your subscription is yours to keep forever. Now, I would flag, I'm suspecting, I don't know this to be the case for sure, but I'm suspecting that generative AI tools that rely on cloud services probably will stop working if your subscription ends. But things that work on your device, I'm suspecting will probably continue to work. Obviously, there's also access to those assets and things as well, the presets, LUTs, overlays, courses, and so on. So I think that gives you a bit of an idea. And what you'll have to do is you'll have to work out, are you potentially a power user? Maybe look at how often you use it, and you can then work out for yourself, do you want a one-time license, which won't necessarily have the generative AI tools? Or do you want to look at that license through, say, Max with Luminar Prime, and then have access to those generative AI features, web editor, cloud assets, and courses? So have a look and see if that makes sense for you, or whether it's worth just going on a simple license. I know a lot of people are not a fan of subscriptions. I get it. I hate being tied to Lightroom, but it seems like it's the way of the future, sadly. So let's look at the fall roadmap, because there are a couple of things that are going to be coming out. Now, I don't have access to these at the moment, so I can't show you, but these, as part of the fall upgrade, are kind of paid upgrade features, so you'll need to have an eligible license for those. Now, one of those is Atmosphere 2.0, where they're introducing fog. And this isn't just an overlay from the seams of it. It's going to, from what I understand, use light and depth mapping to make it look a little bit better. The other is Crop 2.0. So it's going to bring some AI-powered composition variations to your image. AI Assistant 2.0, which is an expansion of this AI Assistant with some more options. So it's going to bring some smarter recommendations for your specific shots instead of just the ones that exist at the moment. And of course, the big one is the expanding Luminar into a browser-based workflow as well. So I think that's fairly exciting. If you are going to pre-order the fall update, because there's a pre-order at the moment, I think until the end of this month, roughly, then you'll see a link in the description you can use, and you can also see if my discount code Travis Hale works to give you a potential discount as well. So is this a good change? I think it is. I think the interface was starting to feel a bit cluttered, and kind of unifying and tying it together makes it feel more, I guess, professional and a little bit easier to use. So if you're a hobbyist or just a basic user, I think the free UI update is a really big win. And I think if you're a power user, it is worth having a look at those full modules and determining if it's worth the upgrade for you as well. So let me know, are you a fan of the changes of the branding? What do you think about the Neo name and the move to Luminar Prime and subscription? So don't forget to like and subscribe for the full walkthrough of Atmosphere 2.0 and some of those features as they drop in the fall. Thanks for watching.